I want to thank everyone who's joined us today to help communicate to not just Californians, but to America. I want to thank each and every one of the people who are champions in this effort to protect the rights of people in this country who are behind us. I certainly want to make sure I acknowledge our governor of the state of California, Gavin Newsom. Also with us is Mayra Alvarez, who is the president of Children's Partnership. I will introduce Mayra after I finish my remarks, and Mayra will have the honor of introducing the governor of California after she speaks as well. If I may take a moment as well to recognize, I'm just going to name off some names because you won't see them, but if we win in court, if we succeed in defending people in this state, it's because of the names I'm about to give you. Michael Newman, Senior Assistant Attorney General. Cherokee Melton, Senior Supervising Deputy Attorney General. Anna Rich, Lead Deputy Attorney General. Brenda Ayon Verduzco, Deputy Attorney General. Julia Mas, Deputy Attorney General. Lisa Cisneros, Deputy Attorney General. Jennifer Bonilla, Deputy Attorney General. Anita Garcia Velasco, Deputy Attorney General. Dan Torres, Special Assistant to the Attorney General. Melanie Fontes Rayner, Special Assistant to the Attorney General. I can boil down to 4 words what it took President Trump and the Trump administration 837 pages to say. They don't like immigrants. They don't like them if they're documented or undocumented. This latest rule by the Trump administration is the latest evidentiary exhibit we have that the Trump administration's animus and its sweeping assault on immigrant families is not just real, but it's constant. The Statute of Liberty declares, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. President Trump's acting immigration services director says, Mr. Ken Cuccinelli says, let's use the alternative fact version of that declaration. And of course, we know as Americans who believe in the Statute of Liberty that that's a colossal strikeout by Mr. Cuccinelli. The Trump administration cowardly runs away from the Statute of Liberty's challenge and its embrace of those who are willing to prove they've earned a place in America. And what they are doing is un-American. Not everyone starts off life with millions gifted by daddy. In fact, many of America's greatest successes are true rags to riches stories. And more of them are coming. And there are more than you can believe who are immigrants and first generation. I know that because I am the son of 2 of those immigrants. This Trump administration rule touches all American communities, and it hurts all of us. Immigrants working hard over 5 years to qualify to become American citizens are not eligible for safety net programs. Let me repeat that. Immigrants working hard over 5 years to qualify to become U.S. citizens do not qualify, are not eligible for safety net programs. That's already the law. But the Trump rule wants to put the power to bar your path to become a citizen if your child participates in something as basic as your neighborhood school lunch or nutrition program. This Trump rule weaponizes nutrition, health care, and housing. It acts like a ticking time bomb. California has the largest immigrant population in the United States, and it is home to some 10 million immigrants from around the world. And here are 2 undeniable facts. First, this Trump rule disproportionately impacts Californians. That's obvious. Almost half of all California children have at least 1 immigrant parent. Secondly, California, in spite of, I say because of, having more immigrants than any other state in America, we create more jobs and graduate more students from college than any other state in America. We also happen to be #1 in technology, as well as agriculture, in clean energy as well as manufacturing, in tourism as well as entertainment. 10 million immigrants, and we are the economic engine for America. That's no accident. We're going to fight against this rule in court, not just because it's the right thing to do, because it's the economic imperative for California to do. This rule is a job killer. There are estimates that California would lose thousands of jobs. And let me put it in this perspective. This rule creates a strict standard, so strict that if it were applied to U.S. citizens, a substantial portion of people across this country who are U.S. citizens would be considered likely as public charges and not qualify for the services that this administration would like to deny children and working families. As the son of immigrants, I will tell you this Trump rule, the way it targets and attacks immigrants, it is personal. As the Attorney General of the state of California, I will tell you that this Trump rule is unlawful, at least in 3 ways. It violates the equal protection guarantee of the Fifth Amendment. It is arbitrary and capricious against our federal laws. And it is contrary to existing federal law. We went to court today because this rule is unlawful. In California, the economic engine for the nation, we know that we cannot afford to sit back while this administration targets programs that children and families across our state rely on. And we know that welcoming and investing in all of our communities makes our state and our entire nation stronger. We will fight this unlawful rule every step of the way. Y en español, este día, como muchos de los días que hemos visto, otra vez este presidente y esta administración quieren atacar los que solo quieren trabajar, mejorar la vida de sus hijos. Y otra vez California, con el apoyo de nuestro gobernador Gavin Newsom y todos los que ven detrás de mí, vamos también a pelear, a luchar, porque sabemos lo que pasa cuando uno trabaja bien duro. Levantamos el Estado y levantamos el país. Yo lo digo como el Attorney General, como el fiscal general de California, pero más que nada lo digo como hijo de inmigrantes de México. Vamos a luchar. Let me now turn it over to Ms. Alvarez for her remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Buenos días. Thank you to the Governor and the Attorney General for their leadership on behalf of Californians and families across the country. I'm honored for the opportunity to join you this morning. My name is Mayra Alvarez. I'm the president of the Children's Partnership. We're a statewide advocacy organization that focuses on putting our children first in policymaking. And I joined today to denounce the sweeping changes on long-standing bipartisan immigration policy by the Trump administration. Changes that damage the well-being of millions of children and jeopardize the future of all of us. In California, 4.5 million children, half of our 9 million kids, are part of an immigrant family. Since this administration took over, too many have heard derogatory comments by the nation's leaders about their family background. Too many are bullied because they or their parents were not born in this country. And too many are worried about what may happen if their parent is detained or deported. The finalization of the public charge rule is the latest in a series of xenophobic attacks on immigrant communities by the Trump administration. This rule would base immigration denials on a family's decision to use the very services designed to keep children and their families healthy and financially stable. As advocates for children, we know firsthand policy extends far beyond its intended recipients, and this rule is no exception. This rule is not about making immigrants self-sufficient. Instead, the regulation puts money above values and the wealthy ahead of families who have waited for years to be reunited. Such a shift in policy will hurt the health and safety of our kids, causing an increase in child poverty, worsening health, hunger, and homelessness, and ultimately hurting the ability of our children to develop, to safely attend and thrive in school, and to grow up to be the productive adults we all need them to be. Make no mistake, we're all going to feel this economic hit. The department states it in their own regulatory analysis. Our Medi-Cal providers will feel it, medical supply companies will feel it, grocers in CalFresh, landlords that are in federally supported public housing, they're going to feel it. The long-term viability of our state's economy relies on our children and youth. Children are our future entrepreneurs, our skilled workers, our tax base for a strong economy. And without access to services that support their healthy development, it is our collective well-being that will suffer. We will all feel the impacts of this rule, but it's innocent children that will bear the brunt of it. Children depend on us, the adults in their lives, to provide them with care and safety, not strip them of it. The mere rumor of this change has had a chilling effect on communities across the state and has resulted in further confusion, deepened fears, and disenrollment from public benefits, which means limited access to vital health, nutrition, and other social services for California's kids and families. Reports are telling us that immigrant families are avoiding everyday routine activities, taking their children to school, going to the park, or going to the grocery store. And according to a national analysis, last year, over 150,000 California children dropped from the rolls of Medi-Cal. And research attribute this in part to the confusion, the angst, and the fear intentionally inflicted by the federal administration. A basic tenet of who we are as Americans, of our shared values of family, inclusion, and fairness, is to take care of our children. We call on our nation's leaders to stop playing politics with the lives of children, millions of children and families. The best way to build a strong country is to ensure that every family who lives here has the food, medical care, shelter, and other basics they need to thrive. It's up to each of us, as community members, as Californians, to put our values into action and demand that this administration withdraw the rule and advance just policies that defend and protect the dignity and rights of all children. We ask you to join us in building a better country where we are all safe and valued. Si me permiten unas palabritas en español, por favor, nada más un minuto. Es un honor estar aquí. Soy hija de migrantes de México y estar aquí con el gobernador y con el, ¿cómo se dice en español? Fiscal general, gracias. Hoy hablamos de la nueva regla de cargo público y damos atención a los millones de familias que hoy se enfrentan con una decisión difícil de mantener a su familia unida o comprar comida para alimentar a sus hijos. Este es el nuevo ataque de la administración de Trump hacia nuestras familias inmigrantes. Esta regla podría negar la tarjeta de residencia permanente a cualquier persona que utilice los servicios de beneficio que ayudan a niños y familias inmigrantes salir adelante. La regla comenzará a aplicarse el 15 de octubre de este año y no tendrá efecto retroactivo. Pero como han escuchado, nuestros líderes van a discutir esta regla en las cortes y eso podría retrasar o impedir que las reglas nuevas entren en vigor. Es importante que miembros de nuestra comunidad aprendan cómo esta regla puede afectar a sus familias. Les recomendamos que consulten a un abogado antes de tomar cualquier decisión que pueda afectar la salud y el bienestar de su familia. Nuestra organización, como muchas otras basadas en la comunidad, muchas aquí con nosotros, estamos aquí para apoyar y asistirlos. Gracias. Ahora es un honor introducir a nuestro gobernador. It is now my honor to pass the mic over to Governor Newsom. Thank you.
I don't want to, another one following that, Mr. Attorney General. First of all, let me, who are all of you? I imagine a few of you may be asking, but I think it's incredibly important that you know who's behind us. You reminded us of the totality of the impact that goes beyond just direct impacts of families, but impacts more broadly this state. And you have a lot of people here representing diversity of this state in every way, shape, or form. And perhaps just briefly, just mention who you're representing and your name, if you could.
Thank you. Carmela Castellano Garcia with the California Primary Care Association, representing community clinics and health centers in the state of California.
Jessica Bartholow with the Western Center on Law and Poverty and also the California Asset Building Coalition.
Ron Fong, California Grocers Association, representing all of the community grocery stores in California.
Jeff Reynoso with the Latino Coalition for Aldi California, representing Latinx Health for our 40% of our state.
Carmela Coyle with the California Hospital Association, representing hospitals throughout the state of California.
Tia Shimada, California Food Policy Advocates. We fight for equity, we fight against hunger.
Ana Iokimedes with Early Edge California, representing the early learning community for children ages 0 to 5.
Mark Galley, your Secretary for Health and Human Services, over health services in the Medicaid program, CalFresh, and the Social Services Department.
Orville Thomas, representing the California Immigrant Policy Center and the California Protecting Immigrant Families Coalition.
Dennis Myers with the California School Board Association, representing school districts and county offices of education throughout the state.
Ann Block with the Immigrant Legal Resource Center.
Andrew Shane with the California Association of Food Banks, representing 41 food banks.
Justin Corcoran, California Medical Association.
Anthony Wright, Health Access California, the statewide healthcare consumer advocacy coalition.
Kathy Sunderling McDonald with the County Welfare Directors Association, representing the 58 County Human Services agencies.
Awesome. Thank you guys, all of you, for being here. It means a lot, and it says a lot, just your presence. And obviously, imagine a number of you, if there are any questions, we'll happily answer them. You know, you stand up here, I'm humbled in one respect. You didn't have to pick up the phone as the governor of California and check in, see where the Attorney General was and what his opinion might be on the issue of public charge. You didn't have to reach out to the leadership of the state and the Assembly and Senate and get a temperature of where they may be. Everybody knew exactly where they stood, united at this moment, united as a state. We are representing the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. As the Attorney General said, now close to 11 million Californians, foreign-born, 27% of the state, foreign-born, a majority minority state. We, every single day, proudly are practicing pluralism. That is a point of pride. And as a consequence, it is a point of principle that we stand up at a moment like this as a state and assert ourselves and protect not only the values of the state, but the remarkable diversity that we represent within this state. I never thought, however, I would start my week defending Bald Eagle and end my week defending the Statue of Liberty. What an incredible week in America. What a remarkable moment in our history. But this moment, as it relates to the public charge, is not necessarily unique in our history either. It's very familiar history, particularly for Californians. 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act was established. The framework to which we are debating the public charge emanates from the Chinese Exclusion Act. That came out of discussions here, the bigotry here against the Chinese. You had a guy by the name of Dennis Kearney. Some of you heard me talk about Mr. Kearney, an immigrant himself of Irish descent who began and ended every speech by whatever else we do, he said, the Chinese must go. You saw at the time in the 1880s all kinds of illustrations that were done of virtual walls that were being built around America to keep the Chinese out. Came out of San Francisco Bay Area. Here we are, generations later, having gone through that moment of extreme bigotry and sort of pull ourselves up and being pulled back in more contemporary terms in the 1990s with Prop 187. How familiar is the public charge to Californians in that contemporary context? We pulled ourselves up and we fought back. That resiliency is California, and that's what gives me optimism, despite all the headwinds of the moment. We persevere, we reconcile, and we ultimately renounce the kind of bigotry, the kind of xenophobia that is front and center in discussions and debates like this. I thought the Attorney General was right about the Trump administration having issues with immigrants, but I think he could have been even more pointed, and forgive me, Mr. Attorney General, by saying he has a particular problem with brown people, not even immigrants. It's noted we're not talking about illegal immigrants as it relates to the public charge. We're talking about legal immigrants. We are, by the way, talking about, yet again, family separation, because what is a public charge? At the end of the day, it's a mother deciding whether or not to get benefits for their children, for a child, or being separated from that child at fear of being deported by an individual that uses this public charge to make an arbitrary determination. That's family separation. It's remarkable what this administration is up to. It's insidious beyond words, and California will have none of it. And so, without belaboring this, I just want to thank the incredible leadership in the state, the extraordinary work that the Attorney General and his deputies are doing at this moment, the collaborative nature to which they've not only engaged the leadership in the executive and legislative branches, but now have reached out to other attorney generals across the country. And I imagine you'll be hearing more about other states that will also join this cause and continue to fight the good fight in our courts. And so with that, I just want to again thank all of you behind me and everybody here that is assembled today, and we are happy to answer any questions on this topic, please. And if you have others, we'll assemble more privately.